Alright guys, what's up? This is going to be a quick little video on my install of a brake controller in our 2018 Nissan Armada. This is something I haven't seen around on YouTube, so forgive me if this is rehashing something you've already seen, but in my searches I couldn't find anything on the 2018, and it was a little frustrating, so hopefully this will be helpful to you. So I purchased a Curt Spectrum brake control for this vehicle because it comes with this remote attachment, which I really liked because, like I said, this is a brand new car and I'm a little loath to drill holes in it, but you know, one little small hole is better than a whole bunch, and I just like the look of this. It's a lot more cleaner control compared to the units that normally mount up underneath the dash here, and being that this dash is so low, I wasn't sure that that would be comfortable having that there. Plus, there's not too many places underneath here really to mount it, because right here is the hood latch, and you know, then I'd have to put it in the middle here above the pedals, and that might present a problem, you know, with the positioning and the distance. So I opted for this remote system. I purchased the factory connector, or the OEM connector for the car, and it's for the Nissan Armada. They recommended the 51382 from Curt. I'm in no affiliation with Curt, I just happen to like their products. And I set out looking for videos to find out where the connection to plug this in was underneath the dash, because I couldn't locate it for the life of me. And a lot of the information out there on web pages kind of tell you in a vague area where it is, but I still couldn't find it. And a lot of them told you, you know, that it was near the emergency brake pedal area, which turned out to be not true. So I'm going to cut away for a second. I'm going to skinny myself underneath the dash, and hopefully the camera will get a good image of this, and I'll show you where I found it at. So, see you in a second. And we're back. Hopefully you can see well with this video. The first camera I tried, it was a little blurry and I couldn't get a good shot. But you'll see here, right here is your steering wheel column shaft. And then over here you've got this white component box. And in between them, there's a wire harness right here. And strapped to that is the actual brake controller connection. And you can kind of tell by the color coding of the wire on the back will match the plug-in that we bought from Curt. So I'm going to grab that connector and see if I can snap that on here for you right quick while I'm under here. I had it on earlier, so I know it fits, but I'm just going to show you that, you know, this is how it connect up. Alright, there we go. So it's connected now. Alright, so yeah, the connector is connected now. And so you would route this around to where your Curt brake controller is going to be. And the controller, according to the instructions, does not require it to be in any particular position. So you can just kind of, you know, zip tie it up, which one I'm going to do. Just leave it hanging. It doesn't matter whether it's level or any particular orientation. So I may be zip tying it to the back of this, because that's kind of seems like that's about the best spot underneath here without interfering with the shafts or the pedals or anything like that. So I'm going to pop out of here, and then I'm going to drill the holes and show you where I'm putting the remote at. Alright, so I already scoped out a spot on the dashboard in advance, looking underneath there to make sure that the base plate where I'm drilling the holes through doesn't interfere with anything. And I'm going to put it in about this location, about even with these switches right here. This was a clear open space right here, so they call for you taking this plate and marking the center line of these holes, and this hole right here at the top has to be facing upwards. That's where a well nut's going to be put into, and then your remote control cord, of course, is going to pass through the small one. So I'm going to mark these holes right now. Alright, now I'm supposed to drill 2 5/16 inch holes in here. And here goes the part that I didn't want to have to do, but alright, and then now I'll put this mounting plate in here. There we go. And then I'll put that jam nut in there, the well nut, and tighten it down. Alright, so here's the well nut. And let's see if I can get it in there. I might have to start it in the piece and then put it in the hole. Alright, that worked out better, I think. Yep, there we go. Alright, and then here's the screw. Put that in. And let me get a bit in my driver. And run that in. Alright, that should do it. Nice and tight. They do tell you in the instructions to make sure that this doesn't flop around because it can cause brake errors or malfunctioning and possibly could cause an accident. So make sure that it's good and tight. It does come with some sticky back 3M adhesive that you could put on it to adhere it, but I'd rather have the screw in there. I'd feel more confident with that. Alright, so the remote control comes with all of the leads loose like this, little pin connectors that you will eventually slide into this modular connector right here that connects into the back front of the brake controller itself. They've left this little plastic bob off to get through that little tiny hole right there, if you can see that. So it makes this easier to fit in. So we thread this in into the hole. Yep. And I'm going to feed it all the way in. And I'm not going to snap the dial in just yet, just because if I have to pull this back out, if I got something wrong, I don't know how aggressive this is locking in here, so I want to leave it loose for right now. So I'm going to crawl underneath the dash and grab those wires and pull them on through, and then I've got to put this little connector on to finish the installation, and then of course connect that to the modular plug I put underneath and plug this in, and then just find a place to zip tie this up, and hopefully everything turns out all right. Alright, so the control cable came through without a hitch, and now I'm to the point where I'm going to connect them to the modular connector here, and they talk about when you're putting your pins in, of course they give you the color orientation to it, that you leave pinhole 1 and pinhole 8 empty. So hopefully I can get these all nice and lined up and they go in pretty well, and we'll see if we get power. Alright, so it looks like I did a pretty good job. Word of caution, this is the locking clamp right here, but these connectors had a little spade on the top of them, and they felt like they kind of clicked in or positively locked in, which may mean that if you get these in the wrong position when you're putting them in, they might be really difficult to pull back out. So you want to be very careful, slow, cautious about this particular step, and make sure that you get the wires in the right slots first go round, because when you click them in, you may not be able to get them back out. I tugged on these a little bit and they felt some resistance, so good luck. Alright, so now I'm going to get this plugged in here to the front. Gonna probably have to hold the camera a second. Alright, nice solid seat. So now I'm going to squeeze my big boy body back up underneath here and see about getting this end connected. And then maybe some cable management here if I can, with some zip ties that I've got down there. And hopefully this will be done. Hopefully you can see something, but I'm just working on a little bit of cable management here. I got a couple of small zip ties that I'm going to put on here to kind of tighten this up so it's not all dangly. Yeah. Then I've got the other end of the module here that I'm going to plug in. Oh, let me put a little twist on this first. Kind of coil it up some. Alright, now let's get this into the module connected. Good. So far it's all connecting. And let's do a little small amount of cable management on here. See if I can get a zip tie around here. Yep. Alright, there we go. And then my final tie, I'm going to try to put this up high, up behind here. Yeah. Because like they said, the orientation of it didn't really matter. And so I'm going to zip tie it to this bundle right here, keep it up here. Looks like everything else is out of the pathways of the pedals and the steering wheel shaft. And so there should be a good spot. I need to tuck that one wire back, it looks like. Alright. So it's connected up here. Flip it around to this other side of that module right there. Alright. Looking good. I think I got it. Yeah. So tuck these wires in here. Alright, that looks like it's it. Get a little closer up in here. So, yeah, nice little zip tied up installation right here. I'm going to go ahead and crawl back up to the top side and finish snapping in the control module, the remote control, and then switch her on and see what we get. Alright, so it took me a little bit of effort to get it snapped in, but I've got power. And so what I found seems to be the well nut that you use to put the mounting bracket on with interferes with the wires behind the switch. They're curled in such a way that they press right on top of that screw head, and I tried bending the wires down very carefully to try to line up with the hole in the center of the bracket to allow them to just pass straight through, and there was a bit of resistance with doing that, but I've got it snapped in. It's just that the top is not entirely satisfactorily snapped in, but it feels pretty solid, so I'm going to call it done and not mess with it anymore. But as you can see, I have functionality, so it's doing what it's supposed to, so it's going to help us pull our trailer. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you found this helpful.